Alright, good afternoon everybody. I am just driving back to work here and I thought I'd drop a little video. Basically what I want to talk about is nicotine and my experience quitting nicotine. So I will say, doesn't really matter which form you do it in, whether it's, Zins or dip or cigarettes or vaping. Nicotine is one of the most addictive chemicals out there, and I feel like most people who use it are aware of that. A lot of people tell themselves that they can quit when they want to, and there's some people that can, but for other people it's not that easy. I will say I quit in maybe an unconventional way, and also in a way that's, not the cheapest either. Cheapest way, obviously, is just throwing away your vape or your Zins or whatever, and just, cold turkey, suffer, which is, I understand for some people that's really, really difficult. And I know some people, the shock of no nicotine, it gets them sick, or they have panic attacks, or they just can't do it. And it was really tough for me. I don't want to know if I would say that would happen to me if I quit that way, but the way I actually did it was with nicotine replacement therapy. Now, if you go online on Reddit and some other places, people will actually advocate against nicotine replacement therapy and say you should just quit, and just cold turkey. But as far as my experience, it was very pleasant. It took a while. It took about 3 months, 4 months maybe. So basically what I did was I downloaded an app on the App Store called Puff Count, and it costs money weekly. I mean, they're really getting money out of you, but I figured the money I would save not spending on vapes would be worth it, so I tried it out. So basically what it is, you set a little widget on your iPhone home screen or your Android or whatever you have, and every time you take a vape or you take a puff, you tap the button and it registers and it counts. It's a counter. I mean, you really don't need to pay for it, but it was just the ease of access of making it a widget. You could put it in your Notes app or track it another way, but it's kind of a hard thing to remember to do, and that little widget helps. So I went a couple days just doing my normal routine, just vaping as usual, see where my numbers were, and I was hitting my vape like 80-ish, 90-ish times a day, which some people do it less, some people do it more. It's not really the point here, but you just want to see where your baseline's at. And then I went and go to Walgreens, CVS, or any other store that sells nicotine patches, and I bought Step 1, the 21 milligram generic version of the nicotine patches. I tried the gum. I wasn't really a fan of it, just because you don't just chew it like regular gum. You chew it and you put it in your lip like you would Zyn. And I quit Zyn earlier in the year and focused on just vaping. So I just didn't like that, so I wanted just to do patches. So I did patches and the puff count at the same time. So I didn't immediately quit vaping. I put the patch on, and then just, it's getting nicotine into your bloodstream, so you don't have a craving to hit as often. So I put the patch on and just, went about my day, still counting. And then I see, okay, now, I was at 80 hits. Now with the nicotine patch, I only hit 50 times a day. And what the Puff Count app does is you set a timeline for, I think you'll see it 30 days or 60 days. I did 60 days. Obviously, the longer you do it, the more you have to pay, but the easier it is for your body to get used to doing lower and lower levels of nicotine. So basically, and it has a chart for it on the app. Say I'm at 50 hits today is where it's at, and say tomorrow it's going to tell me, hey, you need to cap out at 49 hits. And that is, at first I thought, okay, yeah, this is easy, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time, I was thinking ahead, by the time I get to later when it's like, oh, you got 3 hits today. That's all you got, is 3 hits today. I was thinking, this is probably where I'm going to fail. But honestly, working my way down, and it'll give you a couple days in a row where you have the same amount of hits. So it's like, you have 53 hits today. And you were like, today was really tough to get 53 hits. I really wanted, more. But sometimes they'll give you, like, the next day is also 53 hits, and the day after that's 53 hits. And so it worked really well for me. But yeah, basically I stayed on the patch the whole time, slowly worked my way down in hits over the course of time until at the end of 60 days or 2 months. Now, I mean, you can quit a lot faster, but I'm talking for the people who want the easiest path possible to quitting, with the most limited level of withdrawal symptoms. You would do this way, I think. So basically I did that and down until where I had 1 hit a day and then no hits a day. And then I'm just on the nicotine patch, 21 milligram nicotine patch. And at this point you should be very proud of yourself, especially if you were vaping or something. I mean, you're still getting nicotine into your system, but you're off the vape. So hey, that's, congratulations, that's 1 step down. And then from that point on, I just followed the nicotine patch program. I'm on step 1, and I'm like, okay, I've already beat, one part of it here. So I just wore the patch for 2 weeks, and then at the end of the first 2 weeks, I was like, okay, it's time to move on to step 2. I didn't think I was ready. And so I did 2 more weeks, step 1. I mean, I get it's expensive to buy patches for sure, but you got to think, hey, I'm not buying vapes anymore, and I'm not going to be buying them in the future. I'm willing to spend a little more money in the short term here because I'm going to save it in the long term. And so I did another 2 weeks of step 1, and then, you just keep following the program. After that, I moved on to step 2, and I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking, hey, I wonder how antsy and withdrawal and how what's the difference, step 2, because you're going down to 14 milligrams of nicotine. And honestly, because I did the puff count method of like slowly tapering down from 21 to 14 wasn't that bad. So I did 2 weeks of that. And then I'm on to step 1. I did 3 weeks of step 1 because I did 2 weeks and I felt pretty good. And that's 7 milligrams nicotine. And honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest, the next step is just removing the patch and no nicotine. I was pretty scared. So I said, fuck it. Let's do 1 more week, 7 milligrams. Except I didn't want to just do it all day because I wanted to keep having progress. So for the next 7 days, I went, okay, I get to work at 8 o'clock, and I was putting the patch on at like 7 in the morning after I get out of the shower. I was like, okay, I'm not going to put the patch on until my lunch break, which is like right now at noon. So, one day, okay, I'm not putting the patch on until noon. And then the next day, I go, I'm not putting the patch on until 2 o'clock. And the next day, I'm not putting the patch on until 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And then so I had 2 patches left, a Thursday and a Friday. The Thursday, I went, I'm not putting the patch on until 8 p.m. And also, I was taking the patch off every day at 11 p.m. at night, every day. So I'm not putting the patch on until 8 p.m. I put the patch on at 8 p.m. I have 3 hours of wearing a patch. So we're getting to really low levels of nicotine here. And I was feeling some withdrawals, but honestly, it was the most bearable experience. As far as this, nicotine goes, I think this is the easiest way from it. And I had 1 more patch left, and I go, I'm only doing 3 hours a day now. What I'm going to do is just tomorrow, I'm just not going to put the patch on at all. And that way, instead of, if I have intense cravings, instead of rushing back to a vape or something else, I got 1 patch left, put the patch on, and if it's too bad, I'll go buy some more. But what turned out happening is I never needed that patch. Now I am 2.5 months off of the vape, and 4 weeks off of nicotine completely. So I wouldn't say that the process is over, but yeah, I think this is possibly one of the easiest ways you can quit nicotine. Just my experience, just throwing this out there to the world. I'm back at work now, so I gotta let you go, but I just wanted to throw this out there and maybe it can help somebody else. Bye.